Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll call this November 6th regular council meeting to order. And first of all, could I have a motion, please, for the adoption of the agenda as presented? Councillor Nibbs, seconded by Councillor Frank. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, could I have a motion, please, to accept the minutes of the council meeting held on October 23rd, 2017? Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Vroba. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under original communications, delegations, and petitions, we have from the Southeast Transportation Committee the minutes of October 24th. Could we have a motion, please, to adopt those as presented? Councillor Nibbs, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Yanish. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Moore, did you want to add anything to that?
Your Worship, I think everything's self-explanatory.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have from the Estevan Arts Council the minutes of from January to October of 2017. Could we have a motion, please, to accept these as presented? Councillor Vroba, seconded by Councillor Hoffert. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under written reports of committees, we have the Souris Valley Museum minutes of October 18th, 2017. Could I have a motion, please, to accept those minutes? Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under executive reports, we have from the Roads and Drainage Manager, Norm Mack, the snow removal policy update. Could we have a motion of acceptance for that, please? Councillor Nibbs, seconded. Councillor Hoffert. Any further questions? All in favor? And Norm, would you be interested in saying, do we have any major changes? Not really, eh?
There's no major changes at all.
Okay.
There's no major changes at all with snow removal.
Okay.
We've got it curtailed that it's just the way we like it, and last year was sort of a proving ground for us that I think it worked, and
Absolutely.
we see no change in need. Hopefully we could use a little less snow than last year.
Yes.
And so it's business as usual. It's
okay. Thank you, Norm. Okay, moving forward on executive reports, we have from the Land Development Building permit report for October 2017. Could we have a motion for that, please? Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Frank. Any further questions? If not, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next, under introduction of bylaws, we have bylaw 2017-1990 massage parlor bylaw. Tonight we'll give first reading, then we'll advertise for a couple of weeks. Chief, you're here. Thank you for being here this evening. Have you got anything you'd like to add before we get into that?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I think that the bylaw was developed in conjunction with the Estevan Board of Police Commissioners, who backed the bylaw as well. And I think obviously it's designed to address massage parlors within the city. And as we know that some massage parlors have a tendency to become involved with criminal activity. And I'm not by any way saying that that is the case within our community, but this bylaw ensures that that won't transpire, that won't take place. I can say that we have consulted with the companies that this bylaw would affect within the city, and they've expressed no concern at this point with the bylaw. The idea is there's no issue with them operating as long as they're operating lawfully and legally within the city, and that means that they're not doing it for the sale of sexual purposes.
Okay, thank you for that, Chief. Have we got any questions of the Chief now that he's here this evening? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Your Worship, to Chief Paul. The locations that they are presented in now, are they legally in time with the bylaw?
Well, obviously, there's conditions laid out and distances from one to another. Obviously, that would be grandfathered in. We can't expect businesses that are already operating to shut their doors and so forth with the bylaw coming to effect. But for future businesses that wanted to operate in the city, certainly they'd have to work within the guidelines of location. So within distances to schools or distances to one another as well.
Okay, second question. I actually looked that 19-page report over pretty good, and I wondered, did I miss how often we would be inspecting these locations, or is this just by the throw of the hand, or how are you going to do that?
Well, obviously, we'd do random inspections like we do with other properties. We do random inspections with licensed establishments when it comes to alcohol within the city. I would suspect we would have a similar approach with inspections when it comes to body rub parlors within the city. I mean, make no mistake. Obviously, I think everyone who has a good solid mind knows what can transpire in some of these businesses, and we're not saying that those businesses aren't allowed in the community. We're just saying that they have to be lawful. And looking at this bylaw, as long as you're operating a lawful business, nobody should have a problem with any of the caveats of this bylaw whatsoever. So, inspections, I would say quite frequently, to be quite honest. There's a reason that the bylaw talks about females registering, or males, registering with the police service with a license. And that's because we have seen in the past where these types of businesses can be a haven to human trafficking, quite frankly. And again, I'm not pointing fingers here by any means tonight. I'm just saying that if these businesses are operating within the city, they have to be operating lawfully. So given the fact of, that these businesses can transpire into criminal activity, we will be checking on them quite frequently.
Thank you. I was quite pleased with the way it's set up. You have to have a name, address, time, and I think that's good records for any inspection that we may have, and a good follow-up. So thank you for the efforts of putting it all together. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Moore. Any further questions from members of council? If not, then could we entertain a motion this evening for the first reading of the bylaw? Thank you, Councillor Yanish. And second reading by Councillor Frank. Any further questions? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Chief, for coming, and please go home early. I know you wanted to stay for the whole meeting, but please take care of that cold.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Next, under public hearings and reports, we have none this evening. Under giving notice, we have none. Motions from committee as well, we have nothing this evening. Consideration of bylaws, nothing. So we will move to inquiries. Councillor Hoffer.
Yeah, I have nothing this evening, Your Worship, other than to congratulate the members of council and I think David Wilberg is also a member of the United Way organization on another resounding success, and I'm sure the councillors involved will speak more to that.
Absolutely. They did another fantastic job. Thank you. Councillor Vroba.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, yes, the United Way was a huge success, and I'm going to let Travis Frank, because he speaks after me, talk more about it, but I had a great weekend. I did end it with a cold, so I have nothing further this weekend.
Good.
Thanks.
Well, thank you all for your efforts. You did a great job. Councillor Yanish.
Yes, Your Worship. I had the pleasure this last Saturday of attending the Arts Council, the horse race, Art Gallery, sorry, not Art Council, Art Gallery, and I rode the city horse, Old Roy. And Old Roy started off really good. We were in the lead till about the last lap, and then Old Roy kind of just no stamina. He putted out, and we lost.
Well, he is getting older.
I know. But it was a fun event, and for all those that can attend next year, definitely go. It was enjoyable.
Awesome.
Even seen David ride a paper mache horse, and he did well too.
Well, thank you for that, Councillor Yanish. And I know everybody had a great time, and we'll maybe have to ply Roy with some more vitamins for next year. I'm sure he'll make the distance. Okay. Yeah. Councillor Frank?
Thank you. Yeah, I also had the opportunity to attend, and my wife and I had our own horse in the race, and it's a really fun event. So thank you to everybody who came out for that. And in terms of United Way, thank you very much to the community members who donated $350,000 to reach our goal again for the 41st year, which is amazing. It's always good as part of the board of directors to sit down and figure out what you can do with the extra money instead of having to find out who to cut. So. It's going to go to some great organizations in town. It's just the best thing that could happen to our community. So,
Absolutely. Thank you again, Councillor Frank, and we'd like to thank the Board of Directors and all of the volunteers who, without their help, and of course the community's help, it couldn't be such a great success. Thank you. Councillor Nibbs?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Your Worship. I had the pleasure of attending the square round dance group at the Legion on Saturday night, and I need you to know that that group is well and live. They've got a good membership. They're looking for younger people. The oldest lady there was 90 years old, and I tell you what, I wasn't going to get up on the floor and show her anything because she's a dancer. So they got a good group going, and we had people from all parts of Saskatchewan there. And next year it'll be in Saskatoon. And anybody that's interested in square dance, round dancing, it's a really good event to attend. And it's just good to see that that particular part of dancing is still alive and well. And let's hope some young people step up to the plate. So it was a good night.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Councillor Moore. City Manager, anything this evening?
Nothing out, Your Worship.
Okay, City Clerk?
Nothing, Your
Nothing?
Worship.
Okay, Trudy? Nothing? Okay, well, I'd just like to thank our community again one more time for the fantastic work and for the fantastic job they did at the United Way, and I guess that will end our meeting. Could we have a motion, please, to move into committee? Thank you. Councillor Yanish, seconded by Councillor Hoffert. All in favor? Carried. Thank you so much, and good evening.